our cloud version. This is how we generally log in. HTTPS so365.in smart app. This is how you need to put the domain name, you need to put the username, and you need to put the user password, and then you will be able to log into this particular cloud version. Uh, if any of you want to try this out, you can go to our website, that is www.smartofficepayroll.com, and submit a demo request, submit a um, any submit a query or contact us. You can submit your request here, or you can submit a request here for a demo or trial. So our team will get in touch with you, and you'll be able to get a similar login and test out all the features before you go for the paid version. The features will be exactly the same as in you see in the trial version or the paid version. We don't have multiple versions, and since we do not want to confuse our customers, we'll get started in another couple of minutes. So before that, if anyone has any queries about the previous sessions or anything about our company, you can pose a questions. If I have to brief about our company in short, we are into attendance, payroll, and HRMS services. We are seamlessly integrated with some of the well-known brands which have been in the market for last 20-25 years now, and we are seamlessly integrated with them. We directly talk to the machine, so there's no middleware or any other software we need to use to get the data from the machines. We can even send certain instructions to the machine, so that is how well connected we are with the machine. We can give you very good attendance services, we can give you very good payroll services, and now we have been providing HRMS services also. So any queries on attendance, payroll, or HRMS, you can post questions. You can, if you want to see a demo of attendance, payroll, or HRMS software, you can always submit a request from here. So if let me get started on this. Once again, let me thank you all for taking your time out and attending this webinar. I will be recapping every 10-15 minutes so that whoever is joining late, they'll be able to understand what has been discussed so far, and they don't get lost in the process. So today we will be discussing about one of the very important features, which is exit management. And I say this is very important because this is something which keeps coming every day to us as a request. We see a lot of our good employees leaving us or leaving our organization either for various reasons. Some of them can be solved, some of them cannot be, because every person has their own reasons for getting for departing or getting separated from a company. So some of them, yes, they can be solved. So this is where our software can help you out in getting some relevant information on why that employee is leaving, and maybe the HR should be able to solve some of the concerns so that the attrition rate can be reduced. So, what is exit management all about? Exit management is the management of the complete process of an employee who wants to resign, and all the process after that. So, when I talk about that, it starts with the initiation of resignation. It can be done by employee. Manager can also initiate a resignation where he is not happy with the performance of the employee, and then how many approvals are required, what would be about the notice period, what happens about the full and final settlement, what are the how does the whole process go on, whether the employee is updated on if there are any approvals required or not. So this complete process will be taken care in our software, and this is very well defined in a very simple process, in a two to three step process, so that no one is lost during this process. and all the relevant information, all the relevant approvals, whichever are required, are collected in the due course of time and very well documented in the software. So, to get started, normally any exit process, or there are policies that the HR would define in terms of what would be the notice period, what would be the various approvals that will be required, who will initiate the resignation. So similarly, we also can define the exit policies, and we can have multiple exit policies, because you as the business heads, or the teams might have multiple companies that you're working. I mean, within your own group, you might have multiple companies that are there, or there might be multiple departments which will have different exit policies. So you can have multiple policies which can be assigned to individual employees, and so you can have a different notice period. You can have whether in all the cases, whether employee would initiate the resignation or manager would initiate the resignation, who would have the authority to change or request for a change in the notice period, whether it will be employee who can request for change in notice period, or whether it will be only the manager who can request for change in notice period. And then which are the other approvals that will be required for an employee to get NOC, that is a no objection certificate, before the HR or the finance manager processes the full and final settlement of that particular designed employee. You can also add various questions, as in to understand what is the real reason behind the employee leaving the organization, whether it is personal, whether it is professional. Within that, what are the specific reasons why the employee would like to resign? It can be like some of the questions that I have here. Let me read out those. You were paid well for the work done in the organization. You were treated as a valuable member of the organization, yes or no? How often did you receive recognition of your work? Whether see It can be more number of questions that I can show you here. What are the most important reasons for leaving the organization? What would you like most about your job? What did you like most about your job? The organization was able to put up your skills to good use. Certain employees leave the organization because they are capable of much more things, but what they're given is not as per their skill set. So we as the HR managers or the admin managers need to understand what are the exact reasons why the employee wants to resign. So this is how you can define the exit policy, and you can have multiple exit policies that can be defined. So exit questions, we have certain standard exit questions included, but you can always go and include multiple exit questions. And if any questions which are relevant to you, you can have them active in our system by checking the box is active. And in case if you want any specific display order, that also can be defined here. So whenever an employee submits his resignation, he will be asked to submit the answers for all these questions. Now the question arises, how would the system understand which exit policy will be applicable to which particular employee? So that I'll show you here. When you go to the particular employee window, there will be an option where you will specify the exit policy. um, Here in the payroll, there's same window employees, where you can go and in the payroll details you can specify the exit policy. I think it's there in the attendance part only, sorry for the confusion. So you can define it here in the attendance part. Here it would say your exit policy, so you can define it in the masters, saying whatever is the exit policy. So in the same window, if you observe, there is something called as HR manager, there's something called as finance manager, admin manager, operations manager. So as I showed you in the previous window here, that in any exit policy you can define who are the approvers who need to give their approvals. So this is how the system will understand who is the HR manager, who is the finance manager, who is the admin manager. So once you select that particular thing, the system will understand that he's the HR manager. But in case you have multiple HR managers, if you have multiple companies, multiple departments for within the group of company, and you have multiple HR managers, either department wise or company wise, the system will link or understand on the base of the company and the department who is the HR manager for which particular employee. So if I have to go by this particular employee Salma, if she is from the technical department and if she is from this particular company Smart Office Payroll and Biometric Solutions, the same employee, whoever is assigned HR manager for this particular department and company, he would be treated as the HR manager for this particular employee Salma. So this is how the system will understand the link between employee and the HR manager, who is the HR manager, who is the finance manager, and the other managers. And in case of reporting managers, everyone understands how the system picks the reporting manager. This is where you would specify the managers list. So you can see Chetan Jain is the reporting manager for this particular employee Salma. So this is how the system understands who is the respective manager. So let me just recap what has been discussed for last 10 minutes. Um, any company will have exit policies in terms of what would be the notice period, who would initiate the resignation, who can request for change in notice period, what are the various approvals required, are there any questions that needs to be asked for the person who is resigning, so that if the concerns can really be solved, the manager would be happy to solve, or the entire company or the team would be happy to solve the problem and retain good employees. So you can define exit policies. Exit policies can be multiple, and they can be assigned to the particular employee using this attendance employee option. Here in the bottom you will see the exit policy option. So whatever policy is assigned to this particular employee will be applicable to that particular employee. And the link between the HR manager, finance manager, admin manager would be the department and the company. Based on the same company and the same department, if they are assigned to HR manager as well as the employee, the system will understand who is the HR manager for that particular relevant employee, and based on that it will display as in to whom the approval goes to. So now let us understand how we can assign the how an employee can initiate the resignation, or how a manager can initiate a resignation from the ESS portal. Uh, Once this process is completed, this is where you will see who are the various employees who have resigned, what are the answers to those particular questions, and if there is something that can be done for that. You can always export that to Excel, and this is the matrix where the admin will be able to see the approvals that has been received against this particular employee who has submitted his resignation. Let me show you one of the employees for whom the approvals are there. Yeah, so this particular employee, secondary manager approval is there, finance manager approval has been received. This is the remarks that have been put. This is why this is we have put as a test remark. So that is why you see first approval, second approval, fourth approval as in terms of remarks. So let us now understand how an employee can initiate the resignation, and what various details he will submit, how he can track which are the approvals that he has received, and when would the manager come into picture. So this is where in the leave entries option we have given this option, initiate resignation. So a system will be intelligent enough to understand 30 days or the notice period of that particular employee, and the moment the employee goes to that particular window, the system understands the specific date and calculates 30 days from that particular day and calculates the last working day. The employee will be able to submit his remarks here, and once he submits his remarks and selects the reporting manager, he will be able to initiate the resignation. So let me just fill these details and show you how does it go to the particular manager. Important reasons for leaving the organization. It's some personal problem in terms of it can be marriage or uh, other similar reasons which are personal nature. What do you like most about the job? It can be the culture, the flexibility, or it can be the uh, uh, the opportunities provided to upskill yourself. Uh, so the HR and the team understands that what they can focus more on. What would be the one thing that you would have stopped from resigning? In this case, it would be obviously the marriage. But in case we think there is something that is about the promotion or the salary of employee, the employee can surely mention saying that promotion or hike would be the thing that would have stopped him from resigning. So the employee can submit his resignation. So he will get resignation submitted successfully. So now this particular submission will go to the manager login. We'll go to the manager's login now. So when you go to the manager's login, this is where he would see the exit requests of all his employees. Normally, it should display on the same day. We would look at that, but currently you can see that Mamta has submitted the resignation, and it shows the details that Mamta has submitted the resignation on 25th May, and the last working day would be 24th June. This manager will also be able to see the various approvals that will be received, that the employee will have to receive from his end. The employee has to receive from the various departments. So if the manager approves, he can also submit his remarks in the sense that does he approve considering the validity of the reason valid, so approved. Or he can always submit a response which says, we will take care of your promotion in the next or hike in next 2 to 3 months. So you can always decline the uh, submission, and as that way the employee will get the notification saying that the resignation submission has been approved or it has been rejected. So let us go back to the employee login where the employee will be able to see what has happened with his resignation. And then I'll show you how the various managers will be able to see the request in their particular portal, and how they will be able to approve the same. So you can see that the resignation history or the details are visible here. Last working day, primary manager has approved. Now we will have to go to the admin manager, the finance manager, and the operations manager to check uh, how they will be approving that particular request. Let me check who is the concerned HR or the admin manager for that particular employee. Uh, Let me just check if Ashutosh is one of the managers out here. So, no, he's not. Jaideep. Jaideep is the finance manager. So let me just show you how that will appear in his login. I will have to check his login credentials, or I have to change his login credentials. 22, and I believe 22 should be the password for the same. So we will log into his portal, and we will see how does it appear into his request. So as we know that once the resignation is accepted, the NOC has to be provided more or less on the last day. So here, that is the reason any resignation NOC approvals from the various department will be shown on the last day of that particular employee. So if I filter that specific day of the month, the resignation will appear on that particular day, and that is how it is showing here on that last particular day. So the finance manager can come here and say approve, and the same thing will get reflected. No pending financial uh, matters, so approved. So the financial manager can approve if there are no pending matters, or he can escalate the issue to the HR or the concerned person, as in why he wants to disapprove or why he wants to keep it unapproved, since there are certain requests still pending. So let me show you how it would appear in the HRMS as well as in the employees portal. First, let me just show you how does it appear on the uh, admin portal. Here it is. So you'll be able to see the finance manager remarks saying that no pending financial matters, so it is approved. And you can see the approval date, it is 25th May. Since I have approved today, so it is showing as today's date. uh, this has been approved. Now let me show you how similarly it will appear in the employees login. So we can see here that HR manager's remarks are there. Finance manager, no pending financial matters, so approved. The same thing will get displayed here. One means approved, and zero means not approved. So this is how it will appear in the ESS or the manager portal. Uh, if there are any further questions on this part, just let me know, or else I'll just recap what is the process in the employee self-service login, and then we can discuss about what are the couple of reports that are available on the exit management side. So here you can export this particular entire approval matrix, and from each on the basis of each employee or all the employees, and it will be visible in an Excel format. You can also export the employee exit entries, as in what are the various questions and what are the answers that have been given by the exit employee. Um this is what is normally required by the admin or the HR person to take a track of, and provide the relevant information from the decision making perspective. So this is has been this is what is the important part in the ESS and the admin login from the exit management perspective. So uh, I can answer those, or I can quickly recap the entire session in next 2 to 5 minutes, and then we will close the session. I'll be waiting for the questions now. Okay, I missed one of the points here, as in how the manager can initiate the resignation of a particular employee. This is where it will be visible for the manager side. Here, the manager will be able to see the reporting employee list, and this is where he can initiate the resignation from his part if he is not really satisfied with that particular employee. Let me show you where he can initiate the resignation. So since the permissions are given to the manager to change the last working day or reduce the notice period, he will be able to change this from here, and he will be able to submit the resignation. So this is how the manager can initiate the resignation, and he can initiate the resignation. The same thing will go to the particular employee, and he will be able to see this. Um, we have a question here. Let me check that. Can an employee withdraw the request in his login while it is in process? I don't think so, because once the manager has approved, it goes into. There's one question from our attendees, that can an employee withdraw the request in his login while it is in process? The employee will not be able to withdraw his resignation, but yes, the manager can always decline the initiated resignation if he wants to decline, or if he wants to cancel the resignation already submitted. Or even the admin can do the same, but the employee, once it is approved, the employee cannot take back the resignation once it is approved from the manager side. So there are we have planned to, as the employee submits his resignation and it is been accepted by the manager, we plan to change the status automatically as resigned, and update the date of confirmation in the payroll as well, and all over the our platform. And at the same time, we also are planning to change the way the full and final settlements would also work, as in we are planning to have all the NOCs received only post which the creation of employee final settlement will be made as an option. So this will become a pre-requirement, saying that the NOCs, all the NOCs have to be completed before the payroll manager or the financial manager can initiate the full and final settlement. In other words, if the NOCs are not received, the full and final settlement will not be processed. This option will be enabled for that particular employee, or the employee name will appear only once the all the NOCs are completed, and the complete process has been finished. This is what we are planning to do, and if there are any further questions, request you to raise the same. If there are any further questions, request you to raise the same. I'll just quickly recap what has been discussed so far, and then we will close the session. Exit management is all about how you can define what are the policies and what are the various questions that can be included. In terms of policies, you can define the notice period, you can define who initiates it, who has an option to change the notice period, and which are the various NOC or approvals required, what are the various questions that the employee has to answer, and how do we change those questions. And then the entire process of how the employee can initiate it, what are the various details that are visible into the employee login, and what are the various details which are visible in the manager login, how the manager can initiate the process. I also wanted to include one small module during our this exit management discussion, was the help desk option. It's a beta version, that is something that we're working on, but I'll quickly give you an idea about how this actually would be conceptualized. If you see an option here in our employee login, there's something called as my help desk ticket. So every employee will have an option to raise tickets for his any of his concerns. I have created various categories. So if you can see, if the employee has any issues regarding to the pay slip, if he has any issue relating to his IT, or if he has any issue relating to the documents, he can submit the ticket, and he can select that category and submit the remarks. As in documents related, I have not received my promotion letter. So the employee can submit this, and this will be visible into the help desk query. Uh, so documents related, since I was the one who had applied for this, my name is showing here as in terms of employee name, and so you can see that. I have submitted here, and then who would be the reviewer? Anand Singh, since he is the HR manager. That's why his name has been configured here. So basically, this particular request will go to the login of Mr. Anand Singh, since he is the HR manager for this. This is where you will define the escalation, the category wise, saying that who is the concerned person. Here, this is where I have defined the various concerned persons. You can see that you can define a category, as in I have defined three categories: payslip, IT, help desk, and documents. Who would be the escalation? Who would be the concerned person who would have to take care of this escalation, and whether you want to further escalate it to some other person. That escalation matrix can also be defined, which will be designed in the future. So this is where you can define the various categories that an employee can raise his concerns against, and what are the other options. When would the ticket automatically get closed, or when would the ticket automatically get auto further escalated if it is not resolved. So this is basically a very good option wherein the employee can raise his issues and make sure that this is being resolved. Um So we are further developing some more options here, which we will explain as a separate module in the future when we have this completely conceptualized and implemented in a software system. So basically, what is it all about? You can have multiple categories defined, as in who will take care of what kind of queries, and when this would get escalated, when it should get auto closed if it is not resolved, or if there is no further action need to be taken, and then how the admin can look at the various queries that have been generated. Uh, so this is how it will be visible here. Escalation, I believe the date it is asking for first one, because there might be 2 to 3 days of escalation that has been put. So once, if the HR manager is not taking care of it, it would reflect in the this particular portal. So this is about the help desk part in a short. We will have a more detailed explanation in the future. If there are any further questions, request you to raise your concerns or questions here, or we will close the session now. There's one question out here. Someone saying the video has become blurred, but I think I understand the reason now. But I think now it should be clear. But anyways, we would be ending this session right now in some time. If someone has any further questions, please raise the questions. Okay, it seems like it got blurred in at around 12:02. I'll just quickly recap the help desk session here once again. This is where you will see the help desk option. Uh, you can have master settings in terms of when it would get escalated any ticket, or when it would get auto closed, and which are the various categories that can you can define, and when it would get escalated, 2 days, 7 days, or in how many days it should get escalated, and what are the escalation mail IDs, whom it should go whenever any escalation is raised, and who is this specific employee to whom the escalation goes. One of the important points that I missed was when any resignation has been initiated, an email will go to the manager, and he will know that the employee has submitted a resignation. So, thank you so much for attending this particular session, and I hope it was useful. If you any of you want to try it out, not only this particular feature but rest of our features, request you to submit a demo request here on our website. We have a separate option called as request a demo. We will get in touch with you and provide you all the relevant facilities to test our software, and if a trial is feasible, we would be giving that as well. So we will have another presentation that will be up tomorrow, which will be on the training part. It's a very good module which has been developed, which has various facilities. So we will discuss it in more detail about this tomorrow. Request you to join our tomorrow session as well, and thank you once again for giving your time and taking your time out and attending this session. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. I will close this session. Um, Thank you.